It is a slow thaw this spring and a waiting game as rain, ice and snow keep falling. The near record-setting snow we got this winter is slowly melting, but perhaps not as quickly as some would hope. Some years the golf season is in full swing by now, but this year's not one of those years. As Delane Cleveland reports, local golf courses are crossing their fingers for some cooperation from Mother Nature in the next few weeks.
Technically speaking, spring began on March 20th, but try to tell that to anyone who loves golf.
So far, it's a pretty rough start.
And chances are that they're going to look at you funny.
Minnesota, you never really know. It's all up to Mother Nature what's going to happen.
Ricky Plemmel is the superintendent of the New Hope Village Golf Course. In a perfect world, the course would be open for business by April 1st. Instead, the greens are covered and the whole operation is essentially on standby.
The biggest thing we need is the snow to be gone in order to have our equipment on the golf course. The second biggest thing we need is the grass to start growing. So you're going to want to see soil temps in the 50s.
By this point, mostly everyone wants to start seeing temperatures in the 50s. However, Mother Nature has had other plans. Until things warm up, the course can't generate any revenue. Plemmel hopes they can make that up on the back end.
Yeah, you hope to have a strong golf season. You hope that maybe you get to play into November a little bit. You have a longer season on the back end, absolutely. Otherwise, you got to get creative with different events and night golf and different things we do out here.
Such is life in an industry that's weather dependent. In the meantime, Plemmel is hopeful he can get things up and running by mid-April.
From sunup to sundown, as soon as we start going, this place is packed.
In New Hope, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
This is now officially the snowiest winter on record here in the northwest suburbs. And as Jason Malillo tells us, it's been a challenge for public works departments to keep up.
Cleaning up again.
You're on call 24/7 essentially if it's gonna snow. Definitely tired.
Work crews still at it on Monday morning, clearing parking lots and sidewalks.
I was in one of our big trucks Saturday morning. It burned through a full tank of fuel in about 6 hours. You're pretty much foot to the floorboards the whole time, moving at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, just creeping along. You didn't dare stop, because as soon as you stopped, you weren't going anywhere unless you backed up about 20 feet and got a good run at it.
Heavy wet snow on Friday night and Saturday morning brought down trees and power lines, but also pushed maintenance vehicles to their limits.
With the snow being that wet and heavy, it was definitely taking a toll. So yeah, there's a lot of coordinating and moving guys around, to make sure that we're still getting service and the roads cleared off.
New Hope Streets and Parks Supervisor Andrew Kramer calls this the most challenging winter in his 6 years on the job.
Usually it snows, it's done, we plow and move on, but this winter we've had quite a few where it's day after day after day, and the guys are in the trucks for long times and trying to get stuff cleaned up.
Kramer praises his workers for their dedication. They're often up in the middle of the night, driving to work on unplowed streets so the rest of us don't have to.
A lot of sacrifices have to be made to be available for each of these events. Most of our maintenance workers live 20 to 30 minutes away, so we got guys coming in from Montrose, Big Lake.
Definitely the most events we've had.
Plow drivers like Steve Roloff will be ready for more snow if it comes, and soon, some much-deserved R&R.
We could sure use a 60, 70 degree day and have a weekend off for these guys where they're not watching the weather waiting for the next event.
Because winter can't last forever, can it? Jason Malillo, CCX News.
This long winter has turned into a long spring for many high school athletes who can't get outside to practice and play games on fields or tracks because of the snow. And that gave West Lutheran High School baseball coach Steve Gergel an idea. He had his varsity baseball players shovel the snow and ice off of the baseball diamond on Monday in Plymouth. Coach Gergel said his team has been stuck inside so far because of the conditions, and he's already had to postpone one game because of the snow. He said his players are eager to get back outside.
That's just not really how the game is meant to be played. You're in a cage, you never get to see how far your hit goes. You could pitch a little bit, but you never really get the feel for how it's looking or how it looks against a live batter. So we're just really itching to give kids an opportunity to play how it's meant to be played.
The hope is after clearing off the diamond, part of the field will be dry enough for an outside practice one day next week. North Hennepin Community College earned recognition for an innovative program they launched last fall with a focus on bringing the classroom experience into nature. North Hennepin Community College partnered with Three Rivers Park District, Robbinsdale Schools, and others to organize an environmental justice and nature immersion program for both students from the college as well as high school students from around the metro. This is an 8-week 4-credit college program. Part of the class involved a hike and seed spreading activity that took place at Eastman Nature Center.
Our class is environmental justice, and it's an immersion class to get students outside and connected to nature, as well as learning about equity and diversity, resources and opportunities for students to get outside.
So far, the highlight's definitely been visiting this nature center. It's just great being out in the woods and just hearing the sounds, just looking at the little things.
Students also went out on a 3-day immersion trip at the YMCA Northern Lights Camp. They wrapped up the course by reporting on their experiences. And just this last week, the class received an Environmental Initiative Award, which is a Minnesota recognition program that celebrates people and projects working at the nexus of a healthy environment, a prosperous economy, and an equitable society. Winners will be recognized at an event in May. The collaborative team of 7 organizations are already working on the next class, which is coming up in the fall.
Local baseball teams are hoping to get their season started as soon as field conditions permit. Hopkins has become one of the top teams in the area the past few years. Here's a preview of the Royals. You'll see a lot of new faces in the lineup for the Hopkins baseball team this spring. A large group graduated, meaning a lot of opportunities this year.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to replace them, but it looks like we've got a lot of guys who are stepping up this year, so I think they'll be okay.
I mean, it's pretty much a whole new roster this year, but I mean, last year we were going in whole new roster, ended up 21-5. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what we got.
Hopkins does have some good returners to build around, including catcher Drew Charney, a Butler recruit, and catcher infielder Chase Johnson. While this team may lack varsity experience, the potential is there with a good pipeline of players coming in.
We've had some younger players coming up that we think are going to do well. And our JV team last year was very good, so you know, we think we're going to be formidable as the season goes on, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
I definitely think we're going to hit well. We usually do, and our coaches know a lot about hitting, so I think we'll hit pretty well.
Hopkins was 21-5 last season and won the Tough Lake Conference, but fell short of reaching the state tournament as St. Louis Park represented Section 6 at the 4A tournament. The Royals expect to contend in the wide-open Section 6 tourney this year.
Definitely fun. I mean, I think maybe even 1 through 8 in the section, anyone could win it. So, I mean, it's going to be competitive, it's going to be fun.
To be honest, I mean, the state's wide open this year. It's much more wide open than it's ever been. Our section's wide open. There's probably 7 or 8 teams that can win our section this year, which I haven't been able to say that for, you know, the last probably 4 or 5 years. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun, and, you know, we're going to get a sense of where we're at, you know, if we ever get out on the field.
They've been a consistently strong program in recent seasons, and the 2023 Royals expect no less. Wayzata baseball returns a lot from a team that was up and down last spring. Here's a preview of the Trojans. While the weather isn't cooperating just yet, there's plenty of excitement for the Wayzata baseball team as an experienced group looks to bounce back from a sub-500 season.
Yeah, we got a lot of returners this year. I know a lot of the guys behind me are ready to go, and we're ready to make something special this year.
I think there's a lot of excitement coming into this year. We returned 12 section players from last year's roster. We have quite a few starters returning in some key positions, and there's just a lot of excitement. You know, anytime you get to start a new season, there's always that energy wanting to get out and get to it.
Off-season work is already showing up, too. The guys are looking sharp to start the practice sessions.
A lot of these Trojans put a lot of work in this off-season to make sure that we're well equipped to have a great year. I think that work's going to pay off for a great number of guys. I think it's already early that we're seeing, better work in the field and a whole lot of great swings in the cages.
As for a strength of the Trojans, they're in agreement. This team should pitch well.
We got a lot of arms. I think pitching and defense is going to be our thing this year, especially on the mound. We got Leatherman and guys like that, Lash, and a lot of returners that are going to be ready to throw hard strikes. Our pitching staff is going to be lethal this year. We got a lot of guys that got a lot of stuff. And we got guys that are looking to prove themselves, day in, day out.
Pitching and defense is always our strong suit, and so we're returning a lot of important arms this year. And then just the hitting. If we can bring the hitting along and we like what we see so far, I think we have a real chance to be successful, but always leaning on pitching.
A couple of key players from the Trojan State Championship basketball team got a late start for baseball, but they bring that winning pedigree to the spring season.
Coming off that good group of guys with basketball, we're coming to another great group of guys with baseball, so we're looking to make something special again. So we got a couple players on the team, so winning's in our blood, and basketball set the tone that we got to match.
Wayzata baseball is looking for a bounce-back year in 2023. That's all for sports. I'm Jay Wilcox.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.